Ho! Once again, this is... I gotta stop doing it. This is Night Vagmar. These are my mouth words. Today, we're gonna talk about criticism. Because after a conversation at work, still there's gonna be a lot of videos that have been birthed out of that idea. But the major one that I want to touch on, at least at the moment, is criticism. Now, we're talking about, well, the definition of criticism is, one, it's like I have my phone right here, so, it's a noun. It's like the expression of disapproval of someone or something based on perceived faults or mistakes. But we're going with, definition 2, which has to deal with what we're going to be talking at hand, which is the analysis and judgment of the merits and faults of a literary or artistic work. So, along the lines, what we're going to talk about is starting off with movies, but games in general. Just those two bullet points for the most part. Now, it's like I had a conversation with a individual at work. Siku was like, I understand the points he was making, and I did not completely disagree with them, but I was not completely on board. It's like I disagree with like this aspect of it. He's trying to say that, well, it was like with, so like any video game series, like one that he was into, it's like, didn't feel like someone who wasn't a fan of the series or like into it should be criticizing it. Like, he came with like one feature in particular that like someone complained about. I was like, oh, I see like this thing is back. And he's like, well, someone who was into it and like who was into that wouldn't complain about something like that. And it's like, well, it's like I disagree with that. It's like I disagree. It's like I feel you can't have someone who's like completely into something criticize it because they're going to be slightly biased, if not completely. That is to say, and of course, unless this person can be objective. It's like, case in point, I love Final Fantasy. It's like I do love the series. It's like as a whole, but it's like those games are flawed. Like Seven's not a perfect masterpiece. Like it's not. So one of my personal favorites, 9. It's like I love 9 to all get out. It's like it's one of my personal favorites. Is it perfect? No. It's like no, it is not perfect. It's like, and I can accept that, and I can point that out. It's like some of the things that are flawed about it. So I was like, it's like unless you can keep an objective mind, and I know nobody can be completely objective, like it's like about something that they enjoy. Unless they are really awesome, special individuals, and like it's like good on you. I'm like, sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked and like lightheaded. It's like, but it's like I just was like, well, I disagree with that because I don't think someone who like, it's like I don't think someone who's like completely into it could be completely objective. It's like, and criticism of something like that is, it's like, well, any media really, whether it be art or maybe art, games, movies. It's like part of that is personal opinion. It's like you can be objective about it. It's like, well, it's like this is like because of A, B, and C, this is where it falls short. Because of A, B, and C, this is why it's good. It's like, well, your A, B, and C of bad might be my A, B, and C of good. It's like it is objectives in that manner. It's like, and another point that was brought up is like it's like involving movies. Like a lot of the critics, it's like I'm paraphrasing. It's like it's not the entire thing, but it's brought up like most of the critics are like bashing these movies because of this, and this person enjoyed those movies like completely, and those movies made money. There's a particular argument. Those movies made a lot of money, so people went to see them, and people talk with their wallets. So those critics don't know what they're talking about, and they're just biased because those movies made a lot of money. And I can't really say that's completely wrong, because if you keep paying for something, they're going to keep making it. It's like if Michael Bay like says like keeps making, you know, Transformers after Transformers movie, and they keep making double and triple the back their, you know, their budget, he's gonna keep making them, and people are gonna keep seeing them. So it's just gonna perpetuate the cycle. And then things like, I use Scott Pilgrim for one. It's like, I love Scott Pilgrim. I think it's a fantastic film. And it's like, and I may be slightly biased in that fact that, you know, it's basically centered around like, it feels like it's centered around like gamer culture, and like I can identify with like the people, the settings, and the places, and the things that are going on in it. Now, it's like, it's a good film and I love it, but I do have some problems with like some of the pacing of it, and it's like it could have been a little better in like in some parts. It was like, overall I still love the film. But I can say that, I can be objective of it. Even though I love it, you know, it's like, it's not a perfect beast. But that, like, even though it was a great film, did not do well financially, so it's not considered a success. So, you can use it as like, well, Transformers were more successful than this, so this is what people want. And to a point, you can't argue with that. People didn't go see it. People didn't spend their money on it. So that's why there's only like one Scott Pilgrim, and there's going to be 5 Transformers movies. But another point is, bro, is like, so that like, it's like most people, not all people, but most people want action. It's like all these movies made bank, all these Transformers movies made a lot of money, so that's what people want. They just want action movies. And a point was brought up with superhero movies, and like, now I love superhero movies. It's like, I'm going to see just about all the Marvel movies, and you know, they've all been good. So like, well, it's a superhero movie, so like, it doesn't have to have, you know, like a deep story. It's like, and it's like my whole point that I was trying to get across, which I feel was being ignored. It just felt like it was one of those kinds of people where if you disagree, you're wrong, and their point will keep being brought up and brought up until you either agree or you guys stop talking about it. That's just kind of the way it felt. I'm not saying it was, and that's another thing that irritates me. It's like, why the hell do I have to clarify? Unless I say it, I'm not saying it. You understand what I mean? Like, if I say, it's like, well, it was a good example. It's like, yeah. It's like, if I would say, it's like, well, it's like, I feel like having this kind of attitude, it's like, that's a baby way of thinking it. It was like, that's a child's way of thinking it. It's like, He's like, oh, so you're saying I'm a child? Like, did I call you a child? Did I say you were a baby? I'm saying this way of thinking is a child's way of thinking. It's like, you must have a problem if you're taking offense to that, and maybe you feel that you have child's thinking. I can't help you with that. Unless I say it, I'm not saying it. Anyway, as I was like, well, it's like, it's a superhero movie, so it doesn't need to have a deep story. It's like my point is, like, one, it's like, well, yeah, it doesn't have to have a deep story, but it needs to have, it's like, at least a story. It's like, at least a good one. And the thing I was trying to get across is, just because it's a superhero movie doesn't mean we shouldn't expect a deep narrative to it. It shouldn't get a free pass because it's a superhero movie not to have a deep narrative. Does it have to have one? No, because most people are going to show up because they want to see person A hit person B and things blow up, for the most part. But I go because the same reason I went to see Iron Man and Captain America and Thor and the Incredible Hulk and all the Marvel movies they have put out so far, superhero movies in general, because I have the lexicon up here in the head. It's like, I know, like, the deep storylines and stuff and whatnot. That's why I get more enjoyment out of it. And sometimes less enjoyment, depending on, what they do with the story. But I can put some of that lexicon aside. So, like, okay, this is the source material they had, and this is what they had to do with it in the confines of the movie universe. Okay, I can give it to that. But I don't think it's too much to expect a deep narrative from a superhero movie. Just because it is a superhero movie or a comic book movie or what have you doesn't mean it can't have, or we shouldn't expect a deep narrative from it. But they apparently could not get that point across. Some people just, they are locked into their thing. It's like, and that's fine. I don't care if you're locked into one thing. Well, superhero movies should be about action, or these movies made a lot of money, so that's what people want. That's fine. I don't care if that's what you believe. I don't care if that's what you're locked into. What I have problem with is when you don't see another person's perspective. Like, I can see your perspective and I can agree with some of your points, and I will share my opinion on it. Just because I have a different opinion of yours doesn't invalidate yours. It doesn't make yours wrong any more than it makes mine right. And we just have a difference of opinion. It's like, I disagree with that, and we're just going to have to agree to disagree and go on existing. It's like, if you have to keep coming up and up, and bringing back the same point over and over again, it's like, I hear your point. I still disagree with it. And you tell me, it's like, well, you just don't understand. Like, that's the problem. You don't understand. I understand your point. I understand what you're saying, and I can agree with some of the points you're making. I disagree with it, but I can agree with what you're saying. Doesn't make you wrong. Doesn't make me wrong. We just have a difference of opinion due to life experiences and the people that we are. As people, we can disagree with each other. It's okay. You'll be alright. So that's what's been on my head like for a while. I'm just like, I think we can. There doesn't have to be a deeper narrative, but I don't think it's wrong for us to expect one. And it's like, I think it's okay for someone to tell you that something you like has flaws, and it's okay to love something, but everything has flaws. Everything. And you just can't look at it through rose-colored glasses. It's like if you love something but you can't see the flaws in it, it's like you're not looking. You can still love something and see the flaws. It's loving it regardless of those flaws that makes love love for the most part. Yeah. I don't know if this has been deep or weird or stupid, but you know, it's a thing. So I feel is like I don't really care if some person I've never met who gets paid to tell me that things I like have flaws. I know they have flaws, and like maybe I can't see them. It's like, well, and maybe those things that they tell me are flaws, I don't think are flaws. That's not gonna bother me. I'm not gonna get upset or uppity about it. It's like I will try and understand where they're coming from. It's like, but if I don't see it that way, well, I disagree, and we'll just kind of leave it at that. So, thank you for listening. I know this is kind of disjointed, and I probably, as always, didn't explain myself well, but it's like I will ask you. It's like, what do you think? I mean, just because they're superhero movies, like we shouldn't expect a deep narrative, or we should just like it's a superhero movie. Let's go and watch people like beat things up and watch explosions. It's like, and can it be argued as like, is more Transformers movies, is that what people want? I mean, they made money, so that's what people want. I don't know. I just know I know what I like, and I just kind of leave it at that. It's like, if you like something that I don't, that's fine. If I like something you don't, that's fine too. But just try and, at the very least, agree to meet in the middle. Like, here's what I'm saying. It's like, okay, here's what I'm saying. It's like, okay. It's like, I see your points, but I disagree with that. And be able to accept that. I'm like, it's like, okay, I see that you, it's like, you disagree with that. It's like, that's fine. It's like, I disagree with these things, but that's cool. And then let it go. Anyway, thanks for listening. Hope you have a good day. Be well, be awesome. You are worth it. And hopefully I'll be able to clarify this in better aspects in a future video. But like for now, I will see you later. Peace.